Okay, hi everybody, it's me, Bonkai922. The Witch and the Beast. Episode, see right now, 6. The Witch and the Demon Sword opening act. Now, this one's, we're back on track after our little stint with our whole necromancy, undead kind of thing going on. We're back on track to witches and specifically other things that are going on. Now, this one's kind of interesting because we finally get introduced to this group, the Paladins. Now, they're basically like, the best way to explain it is like they're like the Marines or a task force to just annihilate witches. But they use too much force. They're basically the opposite of the organization that Ashhoff and Gudo are a part of. Now, we finally get introduced to them. We get introduced to their leader and a bunch of other people that are there. And the logistics of this one is very miscued. The witch herself, I think her name was what, Helga? Or Helda? She's not very strong. Now, the reason why they're after her, though, becomes clear when we get deep into the episode. So, Hashoff and Gudo, they end up going there to the city where basically everybody wants to leave in. But this is how it is when they introduce the Paladins, because they're just like, the way they do things is very obtuse and very overkillish. They actually had to block off a part of the city with the barrier and so on and so forth. We see that the things that are being, it's like their avatar. They have these avatars that get sent out to fight the witch from this, because the actual Paladins, they're actually on a floating castle that's like this big. It's like literally a piece of a castle that's floating that goes all around. And they have these Paladins who are like this. Their head is, they're kneeling down. They have this thing sticking to them, and they're the actual avatar until it's destroyed and it disappears and all that business. But Gudo and Ashhoff, they go into the city. They get into the city from the Paladins, and Gudo punches one of the Paladins out that was escorting them. And eventually, they meet the witch. Now, this witch is weak, as stated, but she's not very trustworthy. And obviously, Gudo was fighting her and everything in between, until we realize the real meat of the situation. She's not dangerous, this witch. It's what she carries that's dangerous. As the episode's called, The Witch and the Demon Sword. She has a sword, which is known as the Demon Sword. It's similar to Ashhoff's name. I think it's Godov? Probably butchering that name. But basically, this sword is very powerful. And it basically, it could only, no one could wield it. Anyone who, even a witch can't wield it. Because once it comes unsheathed, but all bets are off, and it could literally destroy the world, based on what they were saying. So that's the real menace in the situation, is this demon sword that she carries along. Now, surprise, surprise, the demon sword talks. And it's even got this glaring eye on its hilt. Well, there's the hilt, and it goes towards, like, to the ball end of it. There's a glaring eye. And the conversation between Hashoff and the girl, the witch, and the sword goes back and forth saying, the sword's basically telling her to agree to go with them. They get attacked by the avatars, the the Paladins. And she unfortunately tells Hashoff no. She wants to go by herself. And this results in Hashoff looking at Gudo, telling her, she's not the witch you want. Play ball. Do your mission. Now, the lead paladin that I mentioned before, who apparently has ice powers, shows up to confront the witch. And that's when Gudo shows up. And that seemingly this fight is going to happen. Based on the previews, I don't think it goes well. Also, based on the previews, it sounds like I think the Demon Sword gets released. Oh boy, it's no good. But that was more or less what really transpired in this episode. Kind of a different feel. Basically, her whole mantra is that the witch she's a part of, they deal with swords. Magic swords, if you will. Like, she basically has a sword, and she creates swords out of nothing. Sort of like, I don't want to say Gilgamesh, but it's similar in that way. You got swords coming out of the ether, basically, when she wields this sword, and she uses her magic to throwing them at people and so on and so forth. But overall, I thought this was a good episode. It's kind of funny too, because I thought that guy we saw, excuse me, the person you saw in like the opening with the white hair, I thought he was part of the Magic Association, the Magic of Ordinance residents that Hashoff and Gudo report to. But apparently he's not. He's the Paladins. So, but I don't know how this is going to go and how long this is going to be. Because next week I think it's called The Witch and the Demon Sword Part 2. But it's an interesting spin. A little different. To have a witch that's not just going out and killing people. I mean, really, we haven't seen that many. We've seen the one in episode 1. The one that was a fake out. And then we had the Necromancer. And now we have this. So it's kind of a different power scale, if you will. We've had a powerful witch, not really a witch, a necromancer, and now we have a witch who's not that strong, but she carries a weapon that is uber powerful. So, rating-wise, was a pretty good episode. Nothing too crazy. I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. It's really just an introduction, really. I thought the action was pretty good to a certain extent. Yeah, you could tell how she wants to go with him, but she says no for a reason. But, yeah. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, based on the preview, I wouldn't be surprised if Hashoff gets the Demon Sword. Yeah? Who knows? We'll see. This is Bob Kind of 2. See you guys later. Demon Sword. And it talks. Because all magic swords talk. I'll see you guys later.